Oh yeah, here it is, part two. Forgot PS. I'm talking about the cold air intake system, or short air intake system, short ram air. I was sitting there rolling a number as you do, and remembered that you also have a few connections, such as this one, and there's one underneath this plastic hood as well, I believe, that need to be capped. So what I did was I bought an assortment of caps at the local auto parts store that had all the different sizes, and capped those holes because there's parts of the emissions control system that are not used in this, which probably helps increase horsepower, I would imagine. It also makes it non-California legal, which doesn't bother me in the least because I don't live in California. I live in North Carolina. We don't care about that shit. We're getting rid of a lot of the emissions inspections, as a matter of fact. So anyway, there's that. You want to make sure that you have the caps and all those holes plugged. If you leave those open, you're going to have vacuum leak, which is not good. Then the other thing is spark plugs. Put in a new set of spark plugs when you do something like this. I went with NGK Iridium because in this engine, it's looking for a specific component in that spark plug, and the ECU likes it. And that's the other thing about this. On this matrix, it's got a non-mappable ECU. It's kind of self-mapping. So when you first install this thing, you have to crank it up and let it idle for 15 to 20 minutes so that the computer can get used to the amount of airflow that's coming in at idle and make fuel to air ratio adjustments accordingly. If you crank this thing up and start revving it and showing it off, in front of a bunch of friends or something before you have broken it in, you're going to get a check engine light and it's not going to run right, and you're going to be disappointed, and you may be able to clear it and reset it. It usually would involve disconnecting the battery, letting it sit for a while, and reconnecting everything, cranking it up and letting it idle. Let the computer get used to it, and hopefully you won't get a check engine light. But let's see, other than that, been pretty impressed with it. Like I said, if you know what you're doing and you're not expecting like an instant 30 horsepower like some people claim, then you're going to be happy with it. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're possibly going to make some of those mistakes. Like I said, you want to have everything in the chain as tip-top as possible. You get the maximum performance. You really get the maximum performance out of something like this with a full tune. But unfortunately, this car does not allow for engine mapping. You got to get a new mappable unit and replace it, which might be on the agenda, but that's a few grand for some of the units I've been looking at. But those are also expandable to whenever you start adding things like turbos or superchargers. So, invest a little now for saving a lot later. If I bought just a bare bones model that didn't support turbo and all the other bells and whistles that this top tier model supports, then knowing me, I would end up spending the money anyway and getting the top tier model. So, all right. P.S. Space Wolf out.